All right, you guys, welcome to our first day of solving rational equations. All right, so we are going to progressively move through the solving process, and it has to do with the way that the equations could be presented to you. Okay, so this is our first and most simple form of an equation where you have a fraction equals a fraction. Okay, and we need to solve for x. All right. So what I tell my students to do in this case, always, is to cross multiply. All right. And when you cross multiply, you are going to multiply 2 times x plus 5 or x minus 5. And then you're going to multiply 5 times x minus 8. All right. So 2 times x minus 5 equals 5 times x minus 8. All right. Then I'm going to distribute. So 2x minus 10 equals 5x minus 40, and then whichever first step you would like. So I'm going to subtract 5x. So I get negative 3x minus 10 equals negative 40. I'm going to add 10. So I get negative 3x equals negative 30. So I get x equals 10. Okay. So that is your first example. So anytime it is a fraction equals a fraction, I want you to use the technique of cross multiplication because it's the easiest. Okay. All right. So now you might be thinking, oh, this is cool. I can handle this. All right. Now look at the difference between the problems. Okay. So here, my x value was in the numerator. Okay. Look at where x is now. X is in the denominator. All right. When x is in the denominator, we have some problems, okay? And we have two specific problems. Our first problem is what happens if x equals 3, okay? And what do I mean by that? Well, if I go right here, and if I were to put 3 right here, 3 minus 3 would be 0. And then I would have 7 over 0, which is undefined. Okay, that's not a good thing. Okay, so I cannot have 7 divided by 0. Okay, so that means my first problem is what happens after I do all this work and I have x equals 3. Okay, because that's not good. All right, my second problem right here, what happens after I solve the problem if x were to equal negative 9? Well, again, negative 9 plus 9 would be 0, and I would now have 9 over 0, which means I'm back to my situation of undefined. Okay? So if I solve my equation and I get down to the bottom and the answer is x equals 3, my final answer will be no solution. If I get all the way to the bottom and my answer is x equals negative 9, my answer would be no solution. Okay? Now, this doesn't happen as often as you think, but it can. All right. So let's solve this. So I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to cross multiply. So I now have x plus 7 or x plus 9 times 7, and I'm going to write it 7 with the x plus 9 in parentheses. Then I need to multiply 9 times x minus 3. All right. So 7 times x plus 7 times 9 is 63. 9 times x is 9x. 9 times 3 is 27. All right, I'm going to subtract 9x. So I get negative 2x plus 63 equals negative 27. I'm going to subtract 63. So I get negative 2x equals negative 0, carry on, negative 90. If I divide by negative 2, I get x equals 45. Okay. So that means I'm good. Okay. That means I don't, in this particular problem, okay, I don't have any of these concerns. Okay. But again, if I were, okay, my answer would be no solution. Now, let's talk about, so we're done with this problem. This problem is done. We're good. Okay. If you had gotten your problem, you've done all your work, and you got x equals 3. Okay. And you knew x equals 3 was not allowed. Okay. So your final answer is no solution. Okay. This actually has a name. Okay. This name is what's called an extraneous solution. Okay. And it's just what that means. It's extra. Okay. It is an extra answer. So it came about algebraically, but when I plug it back in, it doesn't work. Okay? This is why it is so important to check your work. Okay? All right? Because you might have what's called an extraneous solution. Okay? All right? You get it from your denominators. Okay? All right. Now, you're not going to have too much of that in your first set of problems for today, but we will continue to talk about this whole process as we go through our video. So I will be repeating myself on this if you're not quite sure with it. Okay. If you've got any questions, let me know. This is how you're going to do your first set of problems using this cross multiplication technique. All right. Good luck.